Good night, good night, good night, everybody. Just giving some more people some time to join. Good night, good night, good night. Blessings. Hope everybody doing all right. Hey, good evening, Claude. Blessings. Thanks for joining. said, tonight the topic is gonna be infrastructure. Have a good one in trust and belief. Got some visuals I'm gonna be showing everything. Really a good episode. Salute, brother. Blessings. Okay, good, yes. Good night, blessings. You're feeling better. Looking good, looking good. Greetings, greetings. Okay, it's 7:15 now, so I'm gonna get started. So welcome once again, everyone that joined so far. Thanks for joining. Once again, I just want to, give my gratitude to everyone that has taken the time, that showed support, that gave a comment, any type of feedback. I'm very appreciative, and I really appreciate it all. I I do a lot, and I always striving for better and pushing and trying to elevate things always. And it's always good to hear that, let's say, things are going well or well received, or that you're doing something right. Of course, there's always room for improvement and growth, so I'm always open to constructive criticism, but I really appreciative of the love I get so far for this podcast. So I just want to say thanks for that. I want to start with that statement. But I want to welcome everybody once again. Thanks for joining here all over it podcast. We gonna uncover it all. Here, May 12th, 2022 25. The topic of motivation is opportunity only comes once. So I'm gonna get into that in a little bit, but before I get into that, I'll also mention the topic, or let's say the issue faced that I'm going to touch on this evening is the local infrastructure on St. Martin, which in other words, the roads. So today we're going to dive into certain aspects of it that I have mentioned already. I even had an article went out, a video which I'm gonna show as well. Well, I'm not gonna really show the video, but I'll show where the video can be found, and I'll also share the link in the chat. But bottom line, nevertheless, infrastructure is a big problem on St. Martin in the sense of the roads are honestly in a deplorable state, which, let me say, I do commend the current sitting minister of Rami for the efforts and the projects he has initiated since getting into his position. But yeah, like I say, like I'll show, this is something I've been talking about, and I see a need for a comprehensive reform, I'll say. That might be a big way to say it, but it's not as serious as it might sound. But, anyways, we're gonna get into all of that later in the show. Then, of course, I'm gonna show the current stock market, where it stands, the heat map of the S&P 500. I'm gonna dive a little bit more into the S&P 500 to give a little understanding of better understanding than, let me say, of what it is, and then yeah, we're gonna start wrapping up and closing off. Yeah, also been looking into that for years. Yeah, I can touch on that too. So to start, like I said, the motivational message of the day, which is opportunity only comes once. Once. I hear a lot of people, when they have to do something, they say, I'm going to do it later or next week. Well, this message today is to you. Opportunity only comes once. Opportunity does not come twice in life. So I recommend you don't put off what you can do today for tomorrow, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. You don't know if you're gonna have help tomorrow. You don't know if something else is gonna come up and you have to go do that's mandatory or priority. A lot of people, when they put off these things, they feel like, man, I have all the time in the world. I ain't have to worry. I could do that next week. I could do that tomorrow. But time is very, very, very precious. Time is probably the most precious thing we have. More precious than gold, and gold is very precious. More precious than diamonds. Time. Time is a very, very powerful thing. Very powerful. So, yeah, when you tell yourself, yeah, tomorrow or next week, remember, You don't know what could happen. So I recommend get up and do it. Go out and get it. Like I said, you could fall sick. Maybe you get up tomorrow and you can't even get up out of bed. So something else always comes up in life. Always. So always focus, stay focused, prioritize, and know that you have to take advantage of opportunity. Opportunity only comes once. It does not come twice. So whether you have homework for next week, or if you have a exam, or maybe you're working on a project and you set a deadline for yourself for next week, do it. Don't say yeah tomorrow I'm gonna do it, and then when tomorrow comes say yeah tomorrow again. By the time you blink twice, next week reach. And maybe you would have started something, but maybe you'll start nothing. And then what you're going to do? Then you wouldn't even be able to execute. What you're going to do? You fail the test. So opportunity doesn't come twice. I've been reading this book. Let's see how it should. Someday is today, for cars. Someday is today by Matthew Dix. And this book in itself has a lot of history behind it, in the sense of the way how I got it was actually kind of funny. The way how I got it was kind of funny. But nonetheless, this book I could say has been very inspirational to me. Thanks for letting me know. And it says on the front of the book, 22 simple actionable ways to propel your creative life. But in my own words, I would say this book is showing you ways and expressing to you why you should not put off for tomorrow what you should do today. Like it says, the title of the book is Someday is Today. So when you say, yeah, I'm gonna do it someday, instead of saying someday, make that someday be today. And the book actually started in a very tragic way, I would say, but the story lent itself very well to the premise and the idea behind the book. It actually started where he gave a story about how he was a manager in a McDonald's. And one evening late, him and a few of the other employees was still at the location, and unfortunately someone decided to rob the place. And basically it was a near death experience for him. He, bottom line, faced the barrel of a gun, and he felt his life was over. And as he expressed, he remember thinking back on his life and all the different goals and projects and aspirations and things that he wanted to do in his life. And long story short, the situation that he expressed didn't go as bad as expected or as it could have, but from that tragic trauma, he took from that he should never put off anything that he wants to do ever again in his life. So if he wants to write a book, if he wants to go on vacation, whatever it is, he plans and he executes. He doesn't say, oh, well, I'm a plan for that, or I'm going to do that later, or next week, or next month, or no. Okay, I want to write this book. Let me get started on the groundwork. What I want to write about. And then he starts jotting things down, or however his process is. But he starts. He doesn't say, yeah, man, I don't have to do that now. Right now, I'm relaxing, watching TV. I can do that later. No. The mentality is, okay, I think on this idea right now. I'll pick up my pen, I'll pick up my phone, open up my notes, and I'll jot it down now. And even as someone who, sometimes you forget things, that actually is very helpful because, you might think on a good idea, and then maybe because you laid it down, or, you already gone to bed, or whatever the scenario, you decide, I can write it later, or I can jot it down whenever. But later you don't remember that at all. So me personally, I'll be honest to you. When I get inspiration, I jump at it. Even if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, some thought passed through my head and I like, look, that's a keeper. I'll get up and put it on in the notes because I see the value of now. Let me say like that. And I could say it has been very helpful. So maybe it came because of the book. I can't really say, but no, 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 I never. No is the best. You know, like I heard this phrase a few years back in this like motivational, inspirational certification class I was in. It said, instead of saying I can't do it, turn that sentence around and say, how can I do it? Because now when you say I can't do it, you're like ending the story. That's like a full stop. Like it's like you're not even entertaining or considering moving forward or doing something further than where you are right now. You feel like you're confined to that circle. But then when you say, how can I do it? Now you turn it around and you start to think, okay, now the door open. It's like you're open to more opportunity, and your imagination can now run wild because now you're more open to the possibilities of life. Let me see. So there is a lot of power in now. So that's why I keep stressing, opportunity only comes once. So when you get that inspiration, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Write it down or work on it one time. Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, I like this book, and apart from that tragic, very attention grabbing start to the book, it really have a lot of great insights. Like it talk about using your time more wisely and how a few seconds wasted adds up, and honestly multi like calculations done in the book of like, okay, if you save 5 minutes here now, or 5 minutes every day saved, that's like, like this amount in a year, this amount in months, so it really gives you perspective. Like, imagine, because you might say like, okay, well, that's just 5 minutes, that's just 2 minutes of my time, that ain't nothing big. But when you consider the preciousness of time, you no longer want to waste any second at all. And honestly, I kind of feel like this is how this book kind of have me right now. Like, it's like, don't waste my time. Like, not no like rough or disrespectful way, but it's like my time is precious, so I have to really focus on my intentions and ignore distractions. As Myron Golden, YouTube podcaster I had listened to, the say very, very much. Focus on intentions and ignore distractions. And yeah, in life we got a lot of distractions, so that's why even in the little post, the text of the post today, I put that finding ways to get through the distractions of life, because we have to be honest. Life could distract you very easily, even when you intentional, even when you tunnel vision, like a horse on the track coming wrong with your blinders. It's still so easy to fall into distraction. It it's so easy. Even me right here, I might be on my laptop working on something, and then somebody send you a message, and you go, you answer the message, and then two tools you find yourself on your phone 15, 20, 30 minutes. And now I really just try to be very intentional with everything. Like, sometimes when I working on a project, focus time, I try to not answer the phone and all, not even look at it, because sometimes you might look at it unintentionally and something interesting might be there, and it might be like, okay, let me see what's going on there. Especially like now in the markets and thing, and maybe you put on your phone and then a alert come up, or some news come up about maybe crypto or whatever in the market, and you're checking, what, okay, let me go see what's going on there. But yeah, when you're on your path, you can't deter. You can't look left, you can't look right, you can't stick your hand out, you can't, you have to stick on it. Like a train coming along the track, like, you never see a train with multiple tracks. Well, yes, they just switch off, but you know what I mean? Like, you can't be on multiple tracks at one time. No. You're on one track and you're going on that track. And yeah, when you're really intentional about the things and you don't leave it, distractions get to you, is like a getaway train, like a train down the track with no brakes, that is like nothing could stop you. And I just feel like that sometimes. It's like when you really focus, like laser focus, pinpoint, is like nothing could turn you or twist you, nothing could deter you. So even like how I spoke last week about the pride that you feel when you fulfill your plans or whatever project you have. If you keep putting things off, you don't you're not gonna get a sense of fulfillment that comes with achieving your goal. So even like I mentioned, if you have an exam, or maybe let me say you have a presentation to do and you don't prepare, when the day come and you you give a poor performance, you feel bad, right? Of course, any of us would feel disappointed in ourselves, like, why, how I went up there and you know show myself so bad. But did you prepare? That's You gotta think back, you gotta reflect on your own actions. So when you prepare, and you go and you execute. Trust and believe. You feel like the man. You feel like conquering lion. You feel like you're on top of Mount Everest, even higher than that. You feel like you're in space. Let me just put it like that to show you how immense you feel. So yeah, you have to stick to it. You have to keep pushing and don't put off the things that you see in your dreams, in your future, in your visions. Whatever inspiration, whatever aspect of creation God put within you, don't sleep on it. Opportunity only comes once. Opportunity does not come twice in life. So, you know, of course, I'll say many people just feel like they bored, they feel like nothing happening in their life or nothing happening for them. But all of that, if you never get up and do it, if you never get up and do nothing for yourself, nothing that you say, yeah, I want to do this, and then you on the back end actually do it, you you you, you must feel that appreciation. So you really really have to keep pushing, keep striving, even when you feel defeated. Believe in yourself. you know Believe you could overcome, because in life we been given dominion, but we are conquering. We can conquer anything. Like somebody that say, I have a brain and it does not, so I could beat it. So anything you put your mind to, you could beat it. You just have to figure it out. So take advantage of the opportunities that been placed in your life, and just understand you can't expect to sit idle and everything will fall in your lap. So you have to work for it. Like the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. So you have to do the work, so that when the time comes and you're called to action, you can execute. It's like you sit in the front of a faucet with a bucket, and you're wondering where the water. Why I ain't seeing no water? Why the water not coming? But you never open the faucet. You know? It's like you plant a tree and you expect it to grow, but you never water it. Well, plans, projects, business ideas, sketches, anything, all of it start with an idea, and you have to nurture it. It's a seed. Once you plant it, you nurture it. You have to do your research. You have to keep progressing at it and maintaining it. And once it's started and once you maintain it, it gonna grow to maturity, and it gonna give you back abundantly. So I heard someone say opportunity has an expiration date, and the worst place you want to be is at the side of the train track watching the train leave the station. So don't procrastinate and cause yourself later to be filled with regret. Take action right now, today. Today. Take action. Whatever you thinking and doing, start to put it on paper. Start to put it in your phone. Because once you start, you're going to start to manifest. Organize it. Organize a plan of approach and start working on it. Be about what you say. Be about your business. Me? Hey, all about my business. Activo. Yeah. Yeah. Don't question that. all about my business. So one time, for the last time, opportunity only comes once. Don't sleep on it. Okay. Yeah, well, sometimes in life you work hard and other people get a glory. That's true. But what's for you will always be for you now. Cause sometimes other people that get a glory, but then later down, their glory that end up falling back on you still. Like for instance, it's the story of Joseph. He get, let me say, ordained or prophecy was put over him that he going to be basically a high ruler and brothers didn't like him, sell him into slave. Well, throw him in a ditch, he gets sell into slavery, all kind of thing. And yeah, went through a lot. Let me just put it like that. And still end up in the long run getting back what he lose and more, coming out on top, his whole family. So yeah, what's for you going to be for you always. Nobody can take it. They have a lot of greed in the world, yes, but they got a lot of good in the world too, and we can't leave the bad overcome or overpower the good. We gotta still do good and do right by people, and good gonna come back, you know. Well, yeah, that would mean the same opportunity. So like, don't expect that the opportunity that you get last week going to be the same opportunity you get this week. So for instance, let's say maybe you like a girl, but you say, man, I'm gonna talk to her next week. But then maybe next week, maybe you put it off again. But let's say you do decide to do it. Then when you go to approach her, come to find out she just start talking to some other guy like a few days before you talk to her. It's like you miss your opportunity. That could have been you. But that's how life is. That's how life goes. I hope you guys enjoyed the little motivational message to start the episode. If you like it, leave a little comment in the chat, leave a heart, a like. I hope I like my shirt. Straight out of St. Martin, local. Support your locals. Home sweet home with the unity flag design. Big up Samika for this one. She had these selling for St. Martin's Day. So I had to rep home today on that one. So yeah, home sweet home. And she birthday was last week, so happy belated to you, Sam. You don't know, bless up. Yeah, I never got that break. I had to drastic measure. So I check one to the day and the goodness. Although that could help, but did not. Yeah, so all of that. Unfortunately, in life, especially in the past, a lot of times the people that had the backing or financing or such and such, they gatekeep, they gate kept everything, or let's say like they more took advantage of people as opposed to like help people. So I could say, even from my own experience, I've been burnt a lot. I've extended friendships, or try to deal with people good, and create new friendships and new relationships with other groups of people. And sometimes some people just not open like that, open to people that they don't know like that. I would say people that they ain't know from forever. So it's a tricky thing. Life is a tricky thing, and it's hard to just what to say. It's hard to just make a decision or create an opinion based off of like one or few experiences, because even somebody else going through the same experience as you might have a different perspective than you. So like how they say, even twins grow up different, come out to have a different personality, or so on so on. It's all about the experiences you go through, but also how you react to them. So yeah, God bless. That's all we could say. God bless us all. And we hope that He bless us and keep us safe and out of harm's way with all the principalities and rulers of darkness that we face on a daily basis. Because it ain't flesh and blood now. It ain't we. we just, we doing what we like. Fleshly wants and lusts. But it ain't we. When you see things like that, it ain't we. It's people clouded and don't know better. You put it like that. No, no, no. I ain't telling you act positive in public to appease anybody. Be yourself. Always. Always. I ain't telling you change at all. That's true. That's true. That's their experiences. And this is yours. Facts. No, so I, like I say, I understand where you're coming from. I just showing you like you had that experience, unfortunately, but all I showing you is maybe somebody else might view it differently. Let me put it like that. But yeah, like I say, greed is all rampant throughout the whole world. So it's how you gonna deal with it, and we have to be strong. We have to be strong in life. You know, facts. You can always choose to do what you feel is good. Perspective is a teacher. Me personally, I don't like to understand different perspectives because I feel like it gives me a better understanding of the truth. Because I, like I say, how I might view something might be different from how you might view something, but that don't mean you wrong. And that's why I don't like to understand other people's perspective, or like they just say, put yourself in other people's shoes. But I don't think that's the best term analogy I want to use here right now. But yeah, bottom line, I feel where you're coming from. It's unfortunate that you went through those negative experiences, and that even you and your children had to be exposed to those type of wickedness and greed. And basically, like I was saying, I also experienced negative experiences like such, whereas people that you would feel have your back turn out to be the ones that take advantage of you. So I feel where you're coming from. you know Oh yeah. Hmm. Is that? But you see that there is a whole nother ball game, you know. We here we that a whole nother ball game you talking about there. Bro, need to run away and think no. That whole nother ball game. We ain't going on that topic right now today. That today. So yeah. Moving on, I going to move into the topic of the evening, which is infrastructure. Now, remember, like I mentioned last week, I actually have a lot of experience in building structures and infrastructure and those things. Also my knowledge of engineering adds to it. Additionally, like I mentioned my father a lot last week, the the road in Middle Region Road. My father actually was, my father actually was the president of the Middle Region Community Council when they redid the roads. And I would say Middle Region Roads is one of the best roads on St. Martin, if not the best. So, okay, yes, in between, it have like the little bumpiness in the when you're driving on it, it'll feel like bump, boop, boop, boop. But apart from that, well engineered, well constructed, doesn't crack up, doesn't work, hasn't been damaged, I would say, since it was built. In a sense of like maybe little repairs here and there, but for the most part, Middle Region Road is good. Even sometimes when you're seeing water running in it, it's still good. So I would say I come from a good breed of people that know about this. And even my uncle Ernest, my great uncle, let me correct myself, he passed away about a month or two ago. God rest his soul. But even him, he was a very big contractor, very big in construction, and a lot of St. Martin, he actually was an integral part in constructing, for instance, the old government building, the old fire station, Panfill, literally like Panfill, all up Panfill. Yeah, start to finish, type. Yeah, um, a lot of time. Let me say that he was an integral part in the construction of these places. So I would say, like I say, I come from a breed that know about this, and the infrastructure in St. Martin is something that I feel very strongly about as well, because like I mentioned, my father is a taxi, but I also have done multiple different. No, the one that do the welding, that's my uncle Tony, which I actually think he on the live. Big up Uncle Tony, Uncle Antonio. Um, no, my great uncle, Uncle Ernest, and yeah, this is actually confirmed information by like let's say government officials, people have been there, because at his funeral a lot of these things I learned, because they had like the the presentation they showed, but certain of the like older past politicians and even some current went up and mentioned his contributions towards the construction of St. Martin. They put it like that. So yeah, moving on. Like I say, being as I have done certain taxi jobs as well, I have picked up tourists on different occasions, and you'll get first-hand experience of how visitors feel. Like literally, I've had more than one experience. One in particular I feel stood out the most to me was I picked up a gentleman and his wife from the airport, and I had to drop them on the front side by Les no L'Esplanade no L'Esperanza Hotel, and in R&B, me add that. And when I picked them up, they got in the vehicle. They asked me how long it going to take to reach. I tell them about 30 minutes. Okay. Keep in mind, they already did this extensive traveling. To my knowledge, they was coming from France, so they don't do like a 8 9 hour flight. So, and on top of that, they had to prepare to go to the airport. All these different things. So I could imagine after all that, you just want to get to your hotel and put on your bags and relax. Cool. So we left, and especially around those times, traffic was bad, and they came out around like after 5, so make it even worse. Long story short, on the way to the hotel, I promise you, at least every 15 minutes, he would ask me, yeah, are we there yet? How far is it? And different things like that. And I could tell he was starting to feel a little hurt, but I did my best to keep things positive. I asked them different questions, different things of that nature. But you could tell. Anyways, finally reached to the hotel, and he was like, yeah, a little island like this, all that traffic. And I understand, because it took us like over 2 hours to reach from right there by the airport to right there on the front side, which usually those would be like 25, 30 minutes. Like when you don't have no traffic. Cool. On other occasions, I have been dropping off guests to the airport, and they would tell you, well, Sima nice and they like it a lot, but they don't think they're gonna come back because of the traffic, you know, and different things of that nature, So personally, I feel like I have had first-hand experience with dealing with guests and visitors, and getting their impression of the place. Of course, they love St. Martin. St. Martin is St. Martin, but it's obvious, which even the taxi drivers, the taxi dispatchers, the persons in the taxi industry would tell you themselves that, you know, tourism nice, but because of the traffic, it's dampening. The tourism industry of St. Martin is dampening because of the traffic. So personally, I feel like it is something that has to be looked into, and I actually did this video which was a speech I did in one of my Toastmasters meetings about this topic. This video is from July 8th, 2024. So I did it a few weeks prior to that. And in this video, it basically I gave a short explanation of what I'm going to touch on here. Additionally, I did this article. This was even before that, September 21st, 2023. And this article was entitled Stop the Patchwork, Address the Root Cause or the Issue Will Continue to Arise. And in this article, similarly, I talk about how there must be a reform of the roads in St. Martin. Too long have we watched mediocre work be done, and not too long after, the same roads are back to their previous condition. All over you're seeing potholes, asphalt, water running in the roads, debris in the roads, much more. Even now they have roadkill all over the place, like dead iguanas and all kind of thing. And people don't understand those things bring down the value of your place. So it just like you have your house and you're leaving garbage all around the place. Like that can bring down the value of your place. Bottom line, plain and simple. Or people ain't gonna wanna come to your place because they're gonna be checking around, but you have garbage all over the place. Not even just in the garbage. Like let me say, looking at it on a macro level, like semantic. Ain't even to say like, yeah, the garbage only by the dump. No more. The garbage all over the road. So yeah. Anyways, I digressed. So my approach with this topic and all further topics will be, I'll touch on the problem, I'll touch on the cause and effect of the problem, and then I'll provide a solution. That's what we like, solutions. Yeah. So the problem, in my opinion, is the condition of the roads. The condition of the roads and the traffic. Now, this is caused by various reasons, and I would say firstly, there has been no update to the roads. Vehicles have been selling on a basically daily basis, and yeah, bottom line, like I say, even in the articles, even in the video, as I see it, the roads have not upgraded since 2013 when the causeway was constructed. And yeah, like I say, everyday cars being sold. So if 10 years ago the road wasn't so congested, but now 10 years after, everyday cars selling, like it's no wonder why the road is so congested. Like if we don't do something about it, eventually we're going to be to a point that as soon as you drive out your gate, you're bumper to bumper. Like you can't go nowhere. Like we really have to be proactive about something like this, because if you leave it get away too bad, which it kinda done bad, but if you leave it get away, then it could be a more of a problem than there might be a viable solution. Let me just put it like that. So yeah, like I say, vehicles selling every day, which business is business. The business going to do what it gotta do. Like you can't go. The car dealership going sell. That's what the business is. So you can't really blame them per se, but still, they part of the problem. I'll be 1,000% honest. And yeah, so like I say, if 10 years ago, well, 12 now, because this article was 2023, and when I put together that article, I spoke about how 10 years ago the causeway was constructed, but now it's 12. So now we got 2 years extra. And for sure, we could say motor wall, Relato, selling, people bringing in, individuals bringing in vehicles as well on their own, So, yeah, the transportation on St. Martin is advancing, but the infrastructure for it is not. And with anything, with anything, if you want it to expand, eventually it's going to outgrow its infrastructure, and you're going to have to build new infrastructure. That's with anything, with technology, with business, with anything, So it's the same concept here, bottom line, because yeah, like I say, vehicles being sold, the roads already in a deplorable state. At least, like I say, thankfully, the current sitting minister, when he got in, he started a project to resurface the roads, which now the roads better than they was like a couple months ago, I'd say. Half a year or two going on a year ago, let me say. But bottom line, like I mentioned in my article, we gotta stop the patchwork. We gotta stop the come grade, resurface, and then a couple months down the line, the same potholes right back. And then what you gonna do? Yeah, grade, resurface again, because then what? Consider it like this. You take $1 million, you resurface the road, okay. 3 months, 4 months later, the same potholes come back. Now you gotta take another million, and you're done complaining that you don't got money, deficit, blah 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 blah. So you're hemorrhaging money. It's like you're throwing money away. You're just taking the money and throwing it at the road, and then the sun evaporating. Plain. So yes, people will say like, yeah, infrastructure reform is a costly undertaking, building new roads is a costly undertaking. Yes, of course. With anything. With anything, when you're doing it right, it costs more. Ask anybody, whether they building a house, whether they building a car, whether they building anything. If you really want to do it right, if you really want to make sure you get a good, long lasting structure that you don't got to worry about for years to come, you got to pay that money. When you buy a car, you're paying for a warranty, because what? If something happened to it, you bring it back. You got to pay that money. So, and really and truly, you're paying the money, because when you go, like I say, right now you spend $1 million, like I don't know exactly, but just for rough, you know, easy averages, easy examples. Let me say you take $1 million this month, you fix the roads. Next 4 months, maybe you say, okay, instead of doing it now, you're gonna push it to 6 months. Okay. Next 6 months, another $1 million again. That's $2 million every year. Whereas now, let me say if you do a project, let me say 10. Okay, of course it ain't gonna be 10. Especially if you want something that give you longevity. 10 might be for a section. Let me say like that. Good. But if you take 10 and do everything over properly from the foundation come up, then you don't gotta look back at that for the next at least 5 to 10 years. Let me say 10 years. So that's 20 million you save. Because that's 2 million a year times 10. So you could even take that 20 million now and do another portion and rinse and repeat. But something got to do. You can't just feel like you're going to just keep putting a band-aid over a bleeding wound and everything will be nice and fine and dandy, like, and that's basically the what to say, that's how things is be done here a lot of times. So we gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. Now moving forward, we got to do better. And as I always talk about when President Mossington, the president from the French side of St. Martin, when he took office, he also did a similar approach. And I like his approach because when I talk about like proper planning and execution, people gonna have other things to say, everybody gonna have their opinion. But for that, I could say proper planning and execution. I know how long they will plan it, I know who plan it, I know how who or what. But I commend President Mossington for when he went into office, he decided to do a reform of the infrastructure. When I say that, I mean they dig up the road, they put down telecommunication, they fix this sewage, put on new sewage pipe, drainage, the works. Now, okay, drainage and those things I find could have be a little more comprehensive, more better done. But still, I like that. Like we say, they say, okay, we going to fix this piece of the road tonight. They ain't to say like, okay, tell them gonna come dig up the road, put in the thing, and then tomorrow GB gonna come dig up the road, put in the thing, and then it's just dig up, cover, dig up, cover, dig up, cover. No, everybody come, do what they gotta do. When this cover, they pave, ready to go. And I remember I experienced a night. I passed maybe around 9 o'clock in the night, and they was working on it. And even that, they had like the light, the traffic light, but the one for construction to stop the traffic on both sides. So to leave one side, stop when the next one go good. So they even had those, whereas the guys didn't have to be there stopping traffic and thing, or the police actually wasn't there at no time. I didn't see the gendarme or the police there at no time when they was doing the construction or the road work on the French side. Cool. And like I said, I passed there the night 9 o'clock. Of course, I had to stop, leave the people do the thing. When it was my turn, I went. I passed back the same way. And the next morning, I promise you, God is my witness. If I am lying, I am flying. The next morning, I passed back the same place, and the road is paved back like it was never even dug up. And on top of that, at that point in time, I commended the fact that they did the road work in the night because it's less congested, less traffic, less inconvenience, period. So I commended that as well. Thankfully, I could say now on the dot side, I have seen they've been doing that, which I commend that because, okay, I understand that where work and wages and those things is concerned, like night shift is a different percentage and all those things. So, the boss might want to have to pay that overtime or things along those lines, let me say. But it's good to see that they find a way to make it happen because, of course, just like us, just like them over there, same for us, traffic is heavy in the day. So, traffic done bad, it can be 10 times worse if you now come and say, yeah, you want to reconstruct the road at 9 o'clock in the morning, you know. So, like I said, I commend the night work too, but like I say, just the execution and how that reaction for me was amazing. That I passed the other night, and then the next morning I passed the same place, and it was like not never happened. Yeah, for a comprehensive road reform, mightn't be as pretty, but just all of that is something to think about and food for thought, because if they could do it, why can't we? And what people fail to realize is, although they try to separate us and make it look like, yeah, dot side, friend side, this and that, we is one island, we is one people. For sure, the people on St. Martin is one. If nothing else, yeah, we might have a border. Yeah, for the most part, it's different government and different apparatus, period. But the people of St. Martin is one. So I feel like we should be working at that unity. Unity flag, unity. Yeah, that what it's about. So yeah, bottom line, like I said, the road condition is bad. The road is too congested because of the high rate of sales of vehicles, and yeah, because there has not been any updates to the infrastructure of St. Martin, in regard to like new roads or changes to alleviate things. You know, we facing a heavy traffic and heavy mashup road, or you know road deplorable condition situation, because same thing, like what you expect if now the road got 10 times the amount of vehicles, of course the road gonna be damaged more. It's like now we got more weight, they got more wear and tear on it, so. And then you got the big trucks, the big heavy 16, 80 wheeler trucks that carrying the containers and things. So all these things is heavy weight on the road, and then the material being used probably ain't the best material. So two wrongs don't make a right, ever. So now we gotta try and make a right by putting right down on the road. you know so personally, I feel like, of course, we gotta build new roads. That's a requirement, because it ain't to say like we could just throw away the cars, and like St. Martin is already how St. Martin is. So you can't just say like you're develops. I mean, not develop, digress St. Martin, and like try to re wind things back in a sense. No, they don't expand, you don't explode exponentially. So now you gotta move with the times. You gotta grow with the the, the growth around you. You know. So how I see it, like I say, we got to build new roads, but we could start with what we have, which I can get into that just now. But we could start with what we have. We need to build new roads, and we need to get serious about the road markings and the road signs, the traffic signs and the directional signs and so on. Especially because we have a lot of tourists and guests that are come here, and ain't to say that majority of them does taxi everywhere. We don't have Uber here. So a large majority of these guests that come in, they take a taxi. I mean, apologies. They taking rentals. They taking rentals when they come, and they driving, whether they following GPS or they following the local persons, motorists who on the road in front of them and so on. So all of that, I'll say it's no wonder some guests, when they come here, they end up in situations whereas they go in the opposite way on a one-way road, or maybe they end up in a bad accident, run up the vehicle on top of some rocks, or like a lot of different situations occur because for the most part, okay, yeah, you'll follow the GPS, but maybe if you don't know the GPS, or maybe if the GPS lagging or moving too slow, then you gotta depend on what's around you, your environment, whether it's you following the road or you following whoever in front of you. So if you don't have nobody in front of you and the road ain't got no markings, and let's say it's confusing, because for us it might not be confusing because we are accustomed, we just drive these roads all the time. But then somebody who not familiar, they gotta adjust. So you you have to take into consideration they have people that not from here that don't know the roads and need those signs and road markings and directional things to help them follow directions. Even people from here too. I have a lot of people from here that honestly don't know how to follow the road rules and different things of that nature because they probably never even see them. They have road signs around. Even up to today, I was on the road and I saw various ones. By the roundabout, by different places they have them, but it is something important. Let me put it like that. And like I say, we might not see the need or the importance of it because for we are accustomed, we know the road, so it don't really matter much. But yeah, the road markings and those things are important. So one thing I have to touch on too before I start to get into my solution or the visual aspect of what I'm going to show is I did see about a week ago an article came out from the People's Tribune about a comprehensive infrastructure reform that is coming, that has been launched by the current sitting Minister of Rami. I read it, and for the most part, it's talking about a reform for 4 districts at the moment, which I find is good in a sense of it's a good start. You gotta start somewhere, like I said. So yeah, some might watch it and say, well, how come only those four, To a certain extent, even I had a sentiment like that. I ain't gonna lie. Gotta be 100% honest. But you can't knock people. They approaching it how they see fit, and you could just pray and have faith and hope that things going to progress positively, and then once that is completed, that we move on to the other districts and just knock things out piece by piece, step by step. So I hoping for positive outcome where that is concerned, because like I say, it's something we need. And honestly, Tommy shouldn't be the one maintaining the road. For those who don't know Tommy is a homeless gentleman we have here living on St. Martin who does be fixing the road in town, which he does be asking for change, standing up in the middle of the road, in middle of Anvil Road. But for the most part, I'll say something not a change. The change, something not a change. Let's go towards material to fix potholes in the road. And that shouldn't be. Like, it should have a team specifically there for like road maintenance and I'll say road cleaning. So even down to, like I said, the road killing thing, a lot of places, whether the main road, whether like within districts, have debris in the road, on the side of the road, whether it's bush or, like I said, like different things dead in the road, and nobody, I would say, sees the need to pick it up or remove it, which, like I said, it's not a nice sight, and it does bring down the value of the place. So, getting into the meat of the matter. Yes, yes, airport road need to be marked, yes. Need lights as well. And so, let me get into this. Oh, so we gonna do some Google Earth. New project, don't worry about that. I need my Earth. Dismiss you. Move out my way. Move out my way. Yeah, good. Bless you. Okay, so we have some man here. Now, I personally am of the opinion that the Colby Shortcut Hill, which I'm going to zoom in on, should be two-way. Now, so for those who don't know St. Martin, anybody who aren't that not from St. Martin, this is your first time seeing St. Martin, welcome. Good. So, matter of fact, let me zoom out a little more before I get into it. Currently, the real main problem with St. Martin is everything happens on this side of the island. Like the main attraction of the island right now is on this side, which the airport is here, and they have the beach, whereas people just go to take the pictures holding up the plane, or the pictures getting jet blasted and so on. That's here. So, like I say, most of the attraction is on that side. So everyone, the taxi drivers, the like I said, the guests that come with the rentals, the locals working, majority of them heads or commutes to that side between 8, let me say, like between 7:30 to 9:30. I would say 9. Everybody leaving from all over here, leaving from all over, even on the front side, over on this side, because you can see where the border is. So all over on the front side, coming, driving, everybody crossing the border to come right here. So they crossing the border right here, coming across the causeway if they don't go through lowlands, to come Maho, Simpson Bay, which they actually have this label wrong, because if I zoom in, I think Simpson Bay more like over here. But anyways, not the point. So yeah, the main problem is everybody working on this side of the island, and there's only one way to get back over to the right side of the island. So let me zoom in a little bit more now. So now all here is Phillipsburg. This is our capital. This is where the cruise terminal is here. This is the Great Salt Pond, all of that good stuff. But so, like I say, everyone travels, comes over and decide, and they have to take one of these two roads. So I hope you could see where the cursor is moving. You see, this is the Colby Shortcut Road, or the some people know it as Cake House Road, there by Kuiman. And lower here, this is the main Colby Hill Road. Good. So, like I said, only way to get over on this side is by one of these two roads, but the only way to get back is by this one only. Only the Colby Hill Road allows you to go from on Colby, Simpson Bay, Maho side to get back to Phillipsburg side, Little Bay, Cahill, all these different places, Dutch Quarter, blah, 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 blah. So let me zoom back up a little bit for added context. Good. So let's say if you live, let's say over here, or let's say over here. Over here is like Belvedere by the Bird Park. There is no way for you to say, okay, I can go just straight so. No. You have to like drive, come down this way, pass all this way, and then go over whether Colby Hill or the shortcut. Good. Good. Now, I am of the opinion to make the shortcut hill two-way, which currently many people use it two-way. You know, they go up the opposite direction illegally. But I've even seen times whereas situations have happened on the Colby Hill, and police themselves, law enforcement, has redirected traffic to go up that direction. So I feel like it's not something so far-fetched, and I feel like it'll alleviate a lot of the traffic. In discussion with some people, they say, yeah, well, you're going to move the bottleneck from over on the Colby side over to Cahill, but I honestly don't agree. Why? Because from on the Cahill side, you have more options. You have more routes you could take as opposed to just one. You know, so I don't see that if we make this two-way, that over on this side now, it can just bottleneck on that side. And another reason why I'll say that is because even when I was working, because I worked all the way past the airport, all the way all the way over here, like right over here. Good. And I experienced it. When I leave work, like 4 o'clock, 4:15, a cruise, a smooth. If I leave work like 4:45, 5 o'clock, a day, I ain't reaching home nothing less than 2 hours after. You know, and that's a shame. You know, but I could tell you, times when I coming home, it'll be like you're stuck in traffic from work straight all the way, come cross through to Colby and everything. And as soon as you reach the roundabout by KFC, like where you reach to meet the Colby Hill, you cruise, you're smooth, you're going over the Colby Hill smooth with ease, and it's like, but where are those vehicles that was just in the congestion being out? Like how if all of these same vehicles, like nobody ain't had no other direction they could have go, all of us on the same hill, but yet it moving, so I that's my response to anybody who would say like, yeah, well, even if you move that there, then they're gonna just cause a bottleneck to be in Cahill. I disagree. So this is the Colby shortcut hill. That's what I call it. For those who familiar, this here is Kuiman. So this is when you're coming up Cahill, the Cahill main road. They got the Chinese shop here, and then you could turn off to head up into the shortcut road. Good. So this here is the whole Colby shortcut road from on the Cahill side, go straight to the Colby side. Good. Now, like I said, I am of the belief that if we make this road two-way, it would alleviate a lot of our traffic. Why? Like I say, is only one way to get from over on the Colby side, and because of that, a lot of the congestion bottlenecks before the Colby Hill. And that's why they got so much traffic, especially on the Colby side of the island. And like I say, I understand that creating new roads is a expensive undertaking. So you start with what you have. So moving on, I feel like to do some modifications to this road will be a less costly undertaking and could be a very immense solution to the traffic situation that we're facing right now. At least a good start, let me say like that. So this road, I would say, like I say, if we make certain modifications and additions, could be a great asset to us where alleviating traffic is concerned. Now, what we would have to do is round the first corner here in Cahill a little better, which I'm going to touch on that a little more. Also, we will have to put lights, so street lights, so that you could see where you're going. We'll have to put like cushion barricades for safety, just in case or anything. And other than that, it's just a matter of like widening the roads, fixing the WAP asphalt, and fixing the potholes and those different smaller fixes, let me say like that. So like I say, moving forward. So zooming in, this is the first corner when you just, like I say, this here is Kuiman. This is Kuiman, this white building here, you can see it say Kuiman. So now if I coming towards Colby, and I take this right turn here and I head up this road, when I reach to this corner here, you have to take it wide. So you could even see here in the Google Earth depiction where even the vehicles in the okay, thanks for telling me the name of the road. Bless it. So the name of the road is Alexis Arnell Road. Good, thank you. Cake House Road, most people know it as. But yeah, like I said, in this you could see most of the vehicles in this Google Earth capture moving to the left side of the road in order to like take the corner wide to get around the corner. Now, this is problematic because now when vehicles coming down, whether a car, whether a bike or whatever, when you whether in the middle of the road or on the other side of the road like that, you it could cause it's it could become a problem. It could cause a accident. It could, you know, cause a tragedy, all kind of thing. Because this is a slope too. This is on a hill, so it ain't even to say like, yeah, if somebody coming down, they could jam a hard brakes. It's dangerous the way how it's constructed right now. So as I see it, if we was to cut around this corner and round it better. Okay, I done with that. Hey, come back. Okay. So yeah, I'll leave it like so. For now. I done. Undo. Okay. So yeah, if we was to cut out a little bit of the side, round the corner better so that when you come in, instead of you having to hit it to the left to come round the corner wide, you cut out some of this greenery and you take up some of this real estate so that now you could round the road better, round the corner of the road better, so that when vehicles coming up, they could just take the corner normal like how they supposed to, as opposed to having to cut in the middle of the road or on the other side of the road in order to get around the corner safely. And honestly, I understand it because I've seen people try to take the corner as they should and they unable to get around because they just wheel spinning and thing. So it ain't to say is people just doing it for spite. It's actually a genuine problem. So like I say, I see it as if we do that, that would alleviate that problem, and rightfully we should do it, just round this corner a little better one time too, the second corner. Sometimes they'll have vehicles park up around here and thing. If we're going to make this a two-way road, then all those things we'll have to visit in a sense, or just let persons know that they wouldn't be able to park up there per se, like right there on the corner and so on for their vehicle, because you don't want something coming hitting your vehicle. But yeah, so if we was to fix these two corners right here, add street lights, like I say, widen the road a little bit, but we really honestly don't have to because like I say, I have seen for sure, and I'm sure other people could agree, we have seen people going up and down this road, like both ways traffic, and yeah, then it comes to this side, which is when you're coming down the hill, this corner right here on this side does be like damaged, either way, however you want to term it. It'll be like badly damaged, the material break off and thing, so now persons have been throwing rocks in the hole, but even that ain't safe or ain't the best solution, because now if somebody come in there and they do drive under that, damaging the suspension and things along those nature. So a proper solution is necessary, so like I say, even once we do widen the road a little bit, and ain't even to say like widen, like, yeah, you're taking up so much real estate. I mean, like, how the road is now, if we was to just take up the whole available real estate, it would be a nice, good size, viable two-way road. Good. And then, yeah, like I say, for the most part, other than that, they just have like warped asphalt, especially like around here. And then when you come here, they got like potholes going down here, even coming up too. No, ain't really got no potholes coming up. So more on this side. And yeah, lastly would be, okay, when you're reaching down to the end of the road here, it becomes a little more complex because how the buildings are constructed around there. The road like narrow right here, which is actually by my cousin house. Well, big up yourself, cousin Juliana. I see you there in the chat. Blessings. Mommy house. Blessings. And yeah, so how this area right here is constructed, it a little narrow, but like I just say, it ain't nothing but a question. Like once you come to people respectfully, and you show people the true intentions, I'll say, people would be open to working with you, so you'll be surprised. And that would be my sentiment for a lot of things I can say too, about like new roads and those things too. But anyways, when it comes to this part, like I say, right here a little narrow, and then here at the end of the road, it need like road markings and direction, like some type of regulation, let me put it like that. Because right now, look, even as you can see in the Google Earth depiction, these is vehicles come down as one and then split off into two. So okay, yes, most times people who going straight would go so, and then if somebody want to turn to go left, they like kind of be more in the middle. But now it has come to a point that people kind of use this as a one way, which rightfully people do enter here, because as you can see, they have people living here, they have people living all over here, but people living all up here, rightfully they have people living all up till here. So these people have to get to their house, and they are legally allowed, they have the legal right to come up till here. So rightfully the road is technically two-way up until this last house, technically. But we want no technicalities, we want a real thing, we want a solution. Good. So bottom line, it ain't nothing to say, because the problem is too, like, it's, you could see where the road paved, but to a certain extent it don't have the differentiation between the road and the Maku yard, the people yard here. So people just come down kind of how they want and do how they want. So you have to set some type of regulation, put some type of sign to show like what it is, what people supposed to be doing, and things along those lines. So that there, once you fix that at the end of that road too, then that'll be a very viable option to alleviate our traffic. Because then now, look at the amount of vehicles right here in this little area. Look at that, bumper to bumper. So at least somebody over here could have said, you know what, I'm going right there in Cahill, right on the other side of the hill, let me go that way. Or even like I go in Dutch Quarter, I ain't want to go all the way around Colby Hill and have to come back wrong and all of that round about. No, I'll take that road. Good. So I feel like that there is a very viable option to alleviate a lot of the traffic that we face in here right now. Additionally, they actually have a road up like in this area, the Marigot Concordia Road, St. Peter's Concordia Road, which how I see it, well, I wanna go through all of that right now. How I see it, we should revisit all of that, and thank you little for indulging me in my little Google Earth visual show and tell. But going back to, like I say, the road Concordia that goes into Marigot from St. Peter's and vice versa. I I spoke to numerous people about that road, and I personally am of the opinion that that road should be open back. And on top of that, I watched President Mossington. He had a interview he did on the dot side here by Oral Gibbs, where he spoke about various different topics like the airlines and all type of different things. But one thing that stood out to me in his interview was he mentioned the fact that through the EU they have access to a fund of some amount of million euros. I want to say like 200 something million euros for French and Dutch liaison, let me say. French and Dutch collaborations and like connection projects together, things along those lines. Good. And the first thing I think about is infrastructure because the traffic situation is something that both sides facing. And if you got all that money, you could even put in and say like, yeah, you're gonna add like surveillance and so on. So let me say like maybe cameras by the barrels and so on, or like different things that are like like if you want, you put speed traps, or all these different things. You put like red light cameras, or, whatever you deem as let me say law enforcement is a necessity in that regard. You add it. So bottom line, when he say that, I check in like the dot side should meet with he and say, look, for that money, we should work on infrastructure. And at the time, they had a issue with water as well, with water and electricity. And I was thinking too, like both of those things is something that could be like topics of discussion. But I say, meet with him and show him like, okay, look, on both sides, traffic is a problem. Because even on the French side, I remember they had talks about his administration looking into building new roads. So it ain't to say it's unknown. They know we know it's a problem, you know. So now is what you're gonna do. So, like I say, you meet with Mossington, you tell him, okay, look, we have this road going into St. Peter's, but now it's a little difficult now. And even for the one going from Dutch Quarter into St. Peter's, which is passing Waymount Hill into Dutch Quarter. Let me term it like that. You know, it 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 would have to be a little revamped, but these are viable options. You start with what you have, you know. So the Marigot Road, I was made to understand that people does rob persons when it was open, or you know, different negative things that happen, that they decide, okay, you know what, let me close this road. But this is a new day and age. You know, you could pave the road, put street lights, put like I say, surveillance. You put some cameras up there for protection, a little added safety and thing. And another viable option, okay, to get to that road, you have to go through a lot of residential area. Okay, understood. So you revamp that. You instead of like the road coming up where it currently does, you re you redo the end of the road and make it like come out to the main road direct. You know, you find a way, you figure out a way and solve the problem. So like I say, same for the road that was started going into Dutch Quarter from St. Peter's, well, Weymouth Hill. I find that was a good undertaking, and I understand the reasonings of why it was stopped. I understand it very well, you know. I know the story, I know the history, I know they had like land involved, and you know, the government wasn't open to pay the price, let me just say, and you know, different factors, and then other land sell, and you know, so even now it would be hard to say like, yeah, and just pick back up where you left off. But what was good back then may not be good now, and what didn't work back then might actually work now, you know. So I say that to say like, why not now? Even though back in the day it didn't go well, why not now revisit it and say, okay, let me see if we can make this something, you know. You start with what you have. I remember too that they had talks about doing like a round the coast road. So let me say like going from St. Peter's around the coast, not St. Peter's, Simpson Bay, apologies. Going from Simpson Bay around the coast of St. Martin into Phillipsburg, which especially now, that would have been a great plus. You know, I I personally can't see how they would put a road without like blocking the marine time in those areas, the maritime, like the boats and things docking, you know, coming and having adventures by those bays and things. I don't know how they would like construct it that it don't be like a obstruction for that, or like maybe it'd be like right up to the coast, but then you kind of take up the beach. You know. I don't know the intricacies of the plan, but that good plan, you know. Or even they had talks about like tunneling, and I find that a good one too. Like I willing to go back to the Google Earth for that one. You know? So let's say we go out and we come over Causeway. Let's say we go Causeway. So right now, yeah, right outside. Right now, the Causeway roundabout is right here. Cause this is the Causeway Bridge going into the airport and such and such. You know, you go Marigot, cross the border right here. Cool. Now, I say, bear with me, bear with me. I say, like how they had talks about a tunnel in St. Martin. I think that's a even a good option too. And I was saying like if we're gonna do a tunnel, it'll be cool to do like the tunnel from right here Causeway into St. Peter's. So let me say like it'll go like from here by the Causeway in some come out somewhere on this side, and then now if you had finished the road that going into Dutch Quarter, or even if you like start it over from somewhere else and rejoin back into it, you kind of make a nice hop skip, a two jump, so let me say for those people who over on this side walking wherever they walk in Simpson Bay, Maho Airport, whatever to be, when they come in this way, if they live in Dutch Quarter, they don't have to go all the way over here and all of that rigmarole, pass all down here and all of that to come all the way back round this way. No. They could just come catch a causeway, go through the causeway tunnel, let me say, and come out in they call it Dutch cul-de-sac, but that's actually like St. Peter's area, like South Reward and all that. South Reward over here. This is like St. Peter's. Down here is St. John's and so on and so on. Up here is Ebenezer. So they ain't really have these labeled 100%, but that's not the point right now. So you're coming into Causeway Tunnel, let we call it. You go into St. Peter's, and then you could catch your next road, whether it's here, whether it's up here, wherever to be. And you're in Dutch Quarter, you're home. You don't gotta go all the way around the world to come back. Even if you live in French Quarter, the same thing. Or even if you live in down over here, this is, what do you call it? Down Beach, Orient Bayside, well, Oyster Bayside, let me say. And so on, so sorry. Yeah, so all of these is viable options, and there was discussions like years ago, like I want to say like maybe 10 years ago about a tunnel, and they had a lot of push back about it, but like certain people had things to say like, yeah, collapsing and but when you construct a thing good, you don't gotta worry about those things. It's going back to what I say earlier, like when you have a good foundation, when you start good, you don't gotta worry about your house falling, But if you know you don't gonna do it right, then you're gonna worry about that. But anyways, long story short, you need new roads. You need new roads. But we could start with what we have. And ultimately, we need a comprehensive infrastructure reform. So, what does that look like? That looks like not just grading and resurfacing the road, but when you go fix a piece of the road, you actually dig up, like how friends I do. You actually dig up, you put on your electrical, your telecommunications. One time while they're there, you fix your sewage, because sewage is a problem on St. Martin too. You deal with your drainage. I am the belief that, especially now, these days we've been having a bunch of rain and some heavy rain. Like when you hear that rain coming, it's like the rain busting, And how to be in St. Martin, we don't get rain a lot. And then when it'll come heavy, and it'll just wash away, like it'll like flood the place for a little while and then it gone, So all of that checking, like we should use ways to capitalize on those things as well. If we was to set up drainage systems within the infrastructure and then put like catchments that now you could use that water for things that now when I say this I mean like you could like put a catchment whereas now it filtering this water and everything already, so tend to say like it's like dirty water full of like the dirt from the road and those things. Like, it's filtered, it's actual usable water. Or even if you say you use it for like agriculture to help promote the agriculture on the island. Right now, the island, the parliament, everybody have agriculture as the topic of importance, the topic of discussion. So that could be a good viable application for it, a good use for that water you collecting. Or you don't need to use it for that. You could use it for equipment, you could use it for different things. But it's like value just trying away, which some might say like, yeah, it's just water, but it's valuable still, you know. If you don't drink water, you and die. So, just food for thought. But when you're doing something, do it right. Don't just try to cover up the cut with a bandage when you know everything red, everything bleeding. Like you know it. You know better. Do better. So yeah, I guess ultimately what I see as the outcome of a comprehensive infrastructure reform on St. Martin is like when you driving in St. Martin, when you walking on the side of the road, you actually got a sidewalk to walk on, whereas, you got like, you know, greenery and beautification, of course, but the roads themselves is constructed in a way that, let me say, water ain't settling in it, it's catching somewhere and coming off the surface. And sometimes it's as simple as just like giving the road a belly. Like I hear my father say that so much. Like as simple as giving the road a belly instead of just like paving it flat. You give it like a little pitch so like it can settle somewhere, not just on one side of the road. Because I would say 80 Village Road there by, what do you call that place? Checkmate Security Office. There 80 Village Road where they had like the horrible potholes. You notice the potholes was only on one side because the road was pitched to one side and all the water was settling on one side. So now when you're going towards like Zagosgot, the road horrible, horrible condition. People gotta be driving in the middle of the road. All of that is unsafe, you know, because now that could be a cause for traffic or an accident. But yeah, and then on top of that, the other side of the road smooth, like nothing ever happened. So you have to be mindful of your planning and know how you're going to operate moving forward, and how you're going to plan yourself so that you could see prosperity in the outcome. So I'll close off there, and I hope my infrastructural TED talk was well received. And leave in the chat. Tell me how you feel the content today was. Let me see. Yes, exactly, the European Development Funding. That's exactly it. EDF. I wanted to make it today. A lot of people that say turning that Colby Road two-way is dangerous, especially because of like the how steep the road is. That certain people don't know how to handle the road, or like get away and things along those nature. But like I say, people doing it. People done does do it, and rightfully the side that people would be coming up on now, like the new added side, would actually be the more safer side, in the sense of like not the side that you getting away when you're coming down the hill. Okay, maybe on the Cahill side, but it's not as steep as the Colby side, and other different factors. Um, But yes, what you say is a fact, and yes, they have a lot of apartments around there, and they have different establishments there. So yes, but your cousin Juliana, you're not the first one that said that given the opinion that they feel like it's a dangerous road. I know people my generation that don't drive that road at all, you know. But it tend to say like everybody gonna do it. Tend to say like yeah, once the road open to it, I mean everybody have to use it, like you do what you're comfortable with, but it's giving people options, bottom line, But I appreciate that you're with me on this topic. And I like cousin Roberto that you say you have a proposal regarding how we could effectively approach this. I like that because it is a necessity. And yes, both governments do need to create a task force, but bottom line, we need better connection and communication between both sides of the island. You know, I really appreciate the comments, and I appreciate the feedback in regards to the topic that was shared today. And I can make sure go back through and read properly and answer everybody comments. But it's already 9, so time flies when you're having fun, like they say. So I gonna start wrapping up, and let me start that by saying thanks once again, everyone, for joining. I appreciate it. Like I said, as of last week, each and every Monday, I can be right here with you, right here with you. Yeah. Only thing next week, I'm traveling. Well, as of this Saturday, I'm traveling to Borneo. I'll be in Borneo for a week. So I was contemplating how I want to go about the next episode, and I came to a decision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just record the next episode and post it on the day of, because I say I don't want to take the chance to go down there Borneo and say I'm gonna do it, and then maybe like I don't have everything I need, or the connection how I want it. At least it seems like today both of my connections held up very well. God blessings. Hey Kareem, blessings. Thanks for joining. Yeah, the four horsemen, But yeah, so I've decided that instead of going live when I go Borneo and have a lot of uncertain factors and like different things like that, I decided, what, I'm going to pre-record next week's episode, and then at 7 o'clock next week Monday, so don't feel you and get it all out. I'll be posting it so that you can check it out. So once again, thanks again. Blessings and love. I appreciate all of you all. And I hope this gives you the inspiration and motivation you need to go out and conquer this week. So, yeah. Remember, opportunity only comes once. Don't leave it pass you by. Grab it by the hands, ride it into the sunset. So, yeah. Thanks again. You guys have a blessed night onwards, and see you again here next week.